Hello and welcome to another episode of Reseller Information Network. We are here today with my co-hosts Cernoch, Leroy, and Tim, and we are going to bring you something special today about your buying habits, ways to increase your financial gain when it comes to reselling. Just a different strategy, so you want to stick around for this one. See some of the tricks and tips that we have when it comes to buying things, not ones and twos, but in bigger lots. Just to check that out today. So we do appreciate each and every one of you guys who have been a part of our journey thus far, and we're looking forward to what the future holds. This year has been already started off with kind of a bang. As far as we've launched the new marketplace, one-stop shop that you can come and check out. The four of us over there and see what we have to offer, as well as are up to, I think, 100 and I want to say 140 sellers. Does that sound about right? Yeah. So I mean, rolling it right along. Lots of great items over there. I've done a little shopping myself recently. So
143 to be exact.
Yeah, there you go. So do check us out at One Stop Shop, rin.net. You can come on over and you can use anybody's code here to save $5 on your first purchase. And we'll put that down below. The other thing I do want to make mention of is comments. We do have some comments from last week's show. First of all, comes from Silver and Hollows. Silver and Hollows says, "Thank you, gents. I'm using this from now on." And talking about the priority shipping thing that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Next up is Trash Cat Rescue says, "Just listed a Super Bowl hat the other day for $97. It had to go through Hat Camp, but now it's spiffy. Also listed and set vintage keychains I got for free in an estate sale." Leroy talked about this last year. Listed a lot of 14 for 20 and one sold for $10. I found a Nike gray tag. Would have never known that until Eric said something in my auction recently. Sal's Mercado says, Gentlemen, I would just like to say I really do appreciate the consistency and the flow of every episode. The longer the show goes on, I strongly believe it's going to get better and better. Just so you all better hit that button and subscribe. Thank you, Sal, for the indication. It is a reminder, if you are out there and you're not subscribed, go ahead and take care of that now. You can hit the bell and get notified when we post something or go live. Next up, we have Nova Scotia Celt 5288. You guys have to clip. It says clip in, but what he's saying is chip in. You guys got to chip in and get Leroy a heater. 3 of you guys wearing t-shirts and Leroy's in a snow. Interesting show as always.
That's comical.
Yeah, it's great. Keith mentioned Sports Flips says, by the way, Tim needs a side gig creating audiobooks for calming and self-help books. Such a silky smooth delivery. The links are everywhere in the space, in the molecules. That's what he said last week. And then Mystery Diva Diver says, great show as always. Also, we had Marilyn Wilson come in and say, I sold a Disney button up shirt for $108. Great content and thanks. Thank all you guys for being a part. Some awesome stuff in the comments this week. As always, we love to hear from you guys. So feel free to comment, and you can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram under Reseller Information Network, and also under One Stop Shop. You can come and chat and hang out with us over there as well. So we appreciate you guys. Now we're going to let Tim take a deep breath, and we're going to get into another thank you. Maybe get a little drink in or whatever he needs to do. Kind of.
I don't know how long this bottle of water has been sitting here, so I don't know.
So we're going to jump into our channel memberships. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to give a big thank you to our channel members, AZ Katsus, Connecticut, Diane Matthews, our very own Blood, Sweat, and Cell, Trash Cat Rescue, New England Betty Boop, Joe Deals, Old School Picker, Vintage Sport Flips, Charities, Terrific Finds, Kathleen the Fernway Flipper, Ohio Pickers, Annette and Frank, Rudely Retro, Absolute Finds, Des Hardy, Heather Peddler, James Steinbreaker, Old Pass, High Plains Flipper, Walter Tilton, Black Sheep Society, Jeff Lyle Picker, Mark Rollins, Tracer J's Trading, Aaron Vaughn, Central Iowa Picker, and Wiggle Room 9. I started to read Wiggle Room before I finished Central Iowa.
Central Higher Wiggle.
Thank you all very much.
Usually I'm the one getting tongue-tied.
Right.
But we do we do appreciate you guys. And if you want to be a part of our channel membership, go down below. One of the new perks that we're actually giving with channel membership is you get early access to our new videos when they drop. So thank you guys for being a part of that. Appreciate you so much. Today, though, we're going to go ahead and get into our subject and what we're talking about today. And, we have talked to you guys all kinds of ways about how to buy and when to buy and what you should look for out there when you're out there. But I know something that we've all practiced at times is when to buy more than one item at a time. And for me and for these guys, we're all different folks and we look at different things in different ways and we source way differently. So today we're going to talk a little bit, and I'm just going to ask some questions to these guys and give my own response as well to when is the time that you buy in lots or bundles or, carloads or however you're buying. When is that time come about for you? Like, what's the thing that kind of gets you there where you're like, look, I'm going to do more than one and two here. Let's go ahead and start. We'll go top to bottom today.
Oh,
put you on the spot.
Okay, so we're we're talking about buying in lots right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you looking for? Like, how do you make that decision that I'm going to pull the trigger on a load?
So a lot of times I know that most people look at it like from the standpoint of if there's one thing in the lot that will pay for everything, right? Like I feel like that's the standard practice. I think that is an obvious like starting point, but I've kind of geared away towards that, and I feel like I talk about this a lot so far this year because it's important to me. I don't want to get left holding and massive amounts of inventory, right? So for me, I'm weighing that now as part of the deal. Like, yeah, maybe that one item pays for everything, right, in the lot. But let's say, for example, the lot's like, let's say 25 items, right? One item pays for everything. What is the average sale price for the other 24 items? That is more important to me now than what is that one item paying for everything. Because if I have 24 other items and those 24 other items are only going to sell for $10 an item, like, am I really going to sit here and list those 24 items for $10 each? I'm not, but also now let me rephrase this because this is an overall equation here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Time, space, shipping. Okay. All three of those things are now going into the equation. This is the master reseller equation. Okay. I feel like Pythagorean right now. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. For those of you that don't know, that's Pythagorean's theorem. So if if it's like, let's say brooches, right? Say I get 25 brooches for, let's say, $75, right? But one of the brooches in there is a $150 brooch. I'm okay with that because now if I can sell those other brooches at $10 a piece plus the one brooch, it's easy to list. I don't have to spend that much time listing it. It's easy to ship and it's easy to store. But I'm not about ready to buy like 25 lamps, right? And one lamp sells for, $100 and all the other lamps are like going to be sitting in a box and boxes in a room that I don't have space to keep. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's a lot more into it because it's difficult because sometimes when you're in the moment, like if you're at like a flea market or you're at like a yard sale, a lot of times, we're used to you seeing it on YouTube where the sellers, the buyer is like, how much for everything, right? Like that's like the big thing, right? But a lot of people don't see it from the other side. How many times have you been at a flea market or been at a yard sale or been at like a private pick and they're like, you got to take it all. You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to push it onto you just as much as the times when you're trying to buy it all from them. And sometimes you have to bite the bullet to get the deal, right? But you just have to math it. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Like in the heat of the moment, just be like, yeah, I'll take it all, right? Like make sure you have a plan. Like I know sometimes it's not easy to think on the fly, but make sure you have a plan because if I'm like doing that and it's like I have to buy everything to get like maybe 10 items. If the math works out, I'm going as soon as I get those items, I'm going straight to donation. I'm not even going to bring it inside my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the circumstance might allow where I might be able to do like a live sale or something like that. But even then, do I want to pack and ship all that stuff? Do I want to spend a whole day shipping? I don't anymore. Like, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to work smarter, not harder. I'm trying to be better with my time, and all of these things factor into buying lots.
All right. Leroy, what are your thoughts on lots?
Lots and lots of lots. That's my thought. My thought is if you're not buying in lots, don't buy it. I mean, I pick and choose stuff for I do two methods of selling. A lot of you guys know, but I sell on eBay and I also sell at the flea market. And one day I'll be on One Stop Shop. But so I have to feed two animals, and the flea market is a beast. It is $5, $2, $1, 50-cent animal, if you can do that. So when I buy in bulk, I'll pull a couple of pieces off. They go on eBay. The rest of it goes to the flea market. Nothing gets thrown away. Most of the time, because I'm not buying storage units, I'm buying box lots, unless it's a broken bit or broken tool, and I can still get rid of it if I had to. I feel that if you do, like Tim said, if you do that, you got to make sure that you have space for it, or you can move it fast. Now, guys, you also can buy a lot, keep 4 pieces, put it on eBay, and you can put it on One Stop Shop, as seen, and people will buy it because you got to realize, just because I live in a city and Walmart is 30 seconds from me, or I have 19 post office in 19 seconds, doesn't mean that Joe the guy from Arizona has anything close to him. So you guys wouldn't realize how many people buy off of us because we live in big cities and we have big outlets that they have nothing. So they will buy off of us constantly so they can resell, because they can't, for them to go to somewhere, it's, they can only go once or twice a month because they have a family or whatever their things are. So, you also look at that end where you're feeding resellers. If you're on YouTube, you're not making videos for people buying your stuff. You're making videos for people who do what you do or are interested in doing what you do. Just because you have 100 people watch a video, that doesn't mean 10 of them have a hard time getting stuff. Some people are ashamed to say they don't have a Goodwill, or they don't have a mission, or they don't have a flea market on Mondays and Thursdays. Some people won't admit that. But on the backside, they'll message you and say, hey, will you sell tool lots? I've done it. Will you sell clothing lots? Cernoch does it. Flea market buyers buy off of Cernoch all the time. I'm going to go on and on, so I'm sorry. But, I just think that it's, if you can't if you don't have space, it's a space thing for me. If you don't have the space, or when you put it on eBay as an auction. And you got to build it up. You're going to get hit, just like you're going to get hit in One Stop Shop. You're going to get hit in and whatnot. But put it in where that thing is selling within a week. So
That's smart too, because I think that's something I forgot to touch on too, because I think sometimes just you can get your money, and be a little bit less, but just it's gone quick. I think that's the big thing right there, is the turnaround time when you buy these lots. Because what if during the main season you buy Leroy style, and you go and you come back, and next thing you know you're sitting with 15 lots, and you're like, one of these lots got to go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's all I have to say. I got interrupted by the birthday boy.
I didn't interrupt you. I just wanted to double down on what you said because it was important, and I forgot.
So when I'm out buying, see, I equate like lots with like kind of lots of stuff, but what I look for, like kind of with like clothes buying, or with certain, like, I'll say this: there's a lot of clothing resellers. They'll pick up a dress shirt for $8 and sell it for 25 and be happy. That's not my game. I'm not doing that. I'm going for a higher ASP, average sale price. Okay. So a lot of those shirts that I know that are worth money, worth at least 18, 20 bucks, and I can get them for, less than $1, I'm passing over, because, if it's going to take me time to do that one listing for a $15 profit, versus, finding a few things where it's like, hey, 50, 60, 70, like everything now that I'm listing is higher. So what I do is, what I look for, if I'm going to do that, I want kind of almost like a replenishable. Okay. Mm-hmm. Where like, if I buy a lot of, like I bought a lot of Northrop Grumman hats, 125 Northrop Grumman hats. Okay. But that was, you list it once and you just keep selling it. I like lots like that. Or recently I was at my honey hole, and I found a pair of Duluth Flex fire hose pants. All right. So I'm like, all right, I know these bring about $20, $25. Now, the reason I got them was because they had 5 other pairs. So I got 6 pairs of those, all the same size, different colors, but all the same size in the same style. And that's where I'll buy it like that, to where I'm doing one picture, one listing, $125 out the door, one shipping. And so that's how I'm looking at lots for myself, in lotting up items, where it's like, hey, here's 2 pairs of Nautica, vintage Y2K Nautica shorts, for just like a little bit, $20 a piece. Okay, I'll put it at 35. So someone's getting a deal. I'm still making money, but I'm selling 2 items at one time and shipping those 2 items out, listing, shipping, all that stuff. So that's how I kind of look at it. Now, if there is, at an auction, or, or, at a garage sale, you do have to buy it all. That is where, like Tim said, you have to look at your space. You have to look at your time, all those things. But I do have a lot of space, so I can kind of hoard stuff here and there. Because what I do is, maybe, and I've had this too, where in lots, I started picking up like Walkmans, you know, the old style Walkman cassette players. Well, I haven't listed one yet because I'm growing this lot to where when I finally, and I think I'm finally there where I'm going to be like, all right, so I've got like 15 to 20 of these, and I'm just going to put them all on a lot. Boom, gone. One listing, one sale, one shipping. So that's how I look at it, and that's how I'm kind of like venturing into it. There are, you know, if you go on eBay and look at like reseller lots, there's a lot out there, and you can get some really good ideas, and people are buying these things. So, you know, that's always saying, you know, I buy a lot, you know, like, you know, because I know that maybe, you know, I can pawn off some of my wholesalers, you know, that they, you know, hey, sell it to the wholesalers that come on by. I can take it to a local auction. So I have different outlets for that. So I will buy in bulk and in lots. So I have no problem with that.
Yeah, for me, I mean, to echo like some of what's been said already is the whole idea of thinking about what you're going to do like with what you're buying and how to move it, whatever that looks like. So for me, I mean, these guys will attest, and anybody that's been around me for a minute know that I do not care about loading my van up with whatever. One of the things for me that I've thought about, and this is kind of what we're going to lead into our next topic, is like how deep do you research into what you're trying to find? Like if you run up on a lot, like for me, I think about paying for an education sometimes. If I can buy a lot of something that I'm not really that familiar with, but the price is right, it might be worth. And like, there's been times where it's really paid off to find something. But for me, as far as lots, like when to buy them, kind of like where we started, when to buy them is when they fit into your business model. Like that's really when to buy them is does it fit? Like Tim was talking about space. Like, do you have space? Do you have the time? Do you, the other thing do you have the motivation to deal with it? Like that's really, because I know for me, like I get bored pretty quickly. I sell everything, and a lot of it's just because I'm like, look, I want to do something. I want to learn something new. Like I want to jump into something. Like you can dive deep into some things, like in some things I do that I'm super interested in, and other things I'm not. Like this, a prime example for me this past weekend, I bought a load of video games, and I'm just not into them like I was before. So I just passed them right on to another reseller. But I got a load of sports memorabilia, and it's a team that I love, the Carolina Tar Heels. So you know what I did with that? I'm deep diving off into that well, because for me it's something I'm into. So all right, so we'll pose the next question, and we'll shift it around like how it is. So I'm gonna start with Leroy, but we'll pose the next question. What do you do? Like, okay, obviously, if you're at a yard sale, you're on the fly, right? So you're kind of, you may have to do the little walk away and look, or you may just throw a number out there and see if someone will take a flyer on it. But I know for Leroy, like some of the things when you're talking about buying in lots, there's lots of different ways to do it, right? Like there is even at the flea market, like those guys do it all the time with each other. And normally yard sale, estate sale situation, you can get into a lot. Thrift store, 99% of the time, you're not going to get a lot unless you're like buying at the bins and loading up a whole cartload. Other things are auctions, and we kind of touched on that a little bit. Leroy, how much research and what do you do to kind of figure out to make that decision about is it worth it or not? Like what's your
So, you know, you have to this I can go to this really deep if I wanted to. You got to pay attention to what you have. Your mind might say, you know what, I can get these cheap. I'm gonna go way back, okay, to the wrapping paper. Okay, I bought a roll up wrapping paper from an old department store, and I was gonna use it as stuffing for my shipping. And something in my head told me, just comp it. Well, that was the wrong thing that I could have ever did, because I ended up with 45 rolls of wrapping paper. Okay. But again, this is gonna be a big circle, guys. Okay. But then I mentioned that I had that wrapping paper and showed pictures on our show, and one of our people bought 2 rolls off me that paid for the whole thing. Okay. I paid for all 40 rolls that I bought. Okay. And I kept selling every week. I would sell a roll. Now, am I getting what I should get for them? No, but I'm still getting anywhere between $40 and $100 for them. I paid $100, $440 for all of it. Okay, so that's how it started. With that setup, was I was buying it just to use it as filler, and something told me to comp it. Now, I went to this sale for the slot cars, and I saw these cases, and these things are full of parts. When I say it's full of parts, I mean it full of parts. And I was like, you know what? I passed on the first day. They were $15 each. The second day, they were only $7 each. And I said, you know what? I think I need to grab them. I said, I'll sort through them. I'll spend an hour, sort through them, and I'll just sell the whole thing. Well, I started going through the drawers, and I have wheels in front of me. And just these 2 little wheels, if I put 4 of them together, is $15.
Wow.
Okay. So, and I have a bell end cap for a motor. Okay. Do I sell this whole thing for $150, or do I nickel and dime it for a little while, and then when I get sick of it, sell it? And that's what I'm going to end up doing. But I'm going through stuff. I can't pull it up because I can't show you guys names. But in this one box that I have in front of me, I'll tell you the sales that I've already sold from this box that I pulled stuff out. $17, $14, $11, $36. Somebody bought 3 of one item. $11, $17, $30, $15, $15. Hold on, guys. Just let me do this. Another $16.
Y'all add this up?
$12, $115. This is all from these boxes that I was going to sell as one piece. So I was complaining on Listen and Loafing today on, should I get rid of them? What should I do? They're driving me crazy. But these guys didn't know the numbers that they're bringing in. This has nothing to do with all the stuff that I was selling for big, big money. But you have to think, okay, am I going on vacation soon? How much of this can I put in my backpack? And list items at 15, 20, 15, 10, 5, 15, 10, 5, 15, 20. I can take this whole thing, put it in baggies, and put it in my backpack, and I'll be good for a month. If I had to, if your family member's sick, if your mom's sick and you got to go to mom's house, and you could literally shut your store down and just sell that stuff on a separate store. If you have 2 stores, you can just list the stuff on one side and shut down the other one. I know people who do that. They travel with stuff so they can ship it while they're out. So that's the thing where you should really do a little bit of research. Spend an hour where you're home, whatever you're doing. And what I've been doing is using Google Imaging, and I'll put a part on the table. And this is just a little motor bracket. It's the outside of a motor, and I'll take a picture of it, and I'll see what I if it's going for anything. Most of this stuff that I have, this little stuff, is $2 to $3 a piece. Okay, but I have 1,000 of this stuff. So you like Cernoch said, and like Eric said, you have to use your own judgment but you also have to think of what do you have going on? What do you have coming up? Are you going away? Is that something you can put in your purse and just sell the jewelry? You know what I mean? You're going to the doctors. I can take this stuff and put it in my backpack, like I said, and it smalls, but and then when you go to ship it, it's a poly bag, you know? So those are things that you need to look at yourself and just, get an idea. Or you can ask us. I mean, we ask each other stuff. I was saying that today, just teasing Eric, but that's how I go about when I buy something in bulk and I look at it. I was gonna sell it for about $100. Those numbers I gave you was about $300, and I still haven't sold it for $100 yet. So when I get tired, I'll take a picture of all the drawers and I'll just let it all go. But think about what you're selling. Think about things you have going on in your life that can help you figure out, can I sell it this way? Should I sell it that way? And it will help you be a better reseller.
Cernoch would
All right, can
research.
you say the question again? Because I was
All right.
listening to,
So when you're out there and you have an opportunity to buy in bulk, like what kind of research do you do, like kind of going into that buy, like making that decision? Should I buy it? Should I not? Like, is there something you do particular to research those things to figure it out, to make the decisions?
yeah, if it's in my wheelhouse, like clothing, I'll probably like not even comp it. I won't even do it. Or if it's something that I know, that I've come across before, I'll start negotiating already. Now, if it's something that I'm like, say I come across a bunch of RC car parts, like Leroy did. I don't know nothing about RC car parts. So the way I work is, if there's something I don't know about, I need to get it for cheap. I need to get it for cheap. Okay. Even if it's like, oh yeah, this is worth a lot of money, like, like, oh man, this is gonna be lots of money, and they say, oh well, we're selling the whole thing for like $500. Then I'm kind of like, because then it's like, all right, I've got to. If I'm going to shell out $500 on something I don't know about, then it starts getting a little bit harder. Where it's like, okay, I got to make sure this is exactly what I think it is, and it gets a little scary because it's like, all right, well, this is untested. I don't know. I've walked away from a lot of deals like that with like a stereo equipment, big speakers, and it's like, you look it up and you're like, okay, this stuff is selling, but the price they give you is kind of a little bit higher than I like to spend. Okay, I don't like to spend money. All right, so I've walked away from those deals because I'm like, I'm not the expert in that stuff, so I don't know how to maybe answer questions, how to describe it properly, know all the inner workings of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like I'm a little more cautious on more expensive lots. Now, if it's cheap, if it's dirt cheap, that's like, well, that's what I like. I like to find the lots is like, what's there to lose?
$20 for everything.
Yeah, $20 for everything. What's there to lose? I can, there's $20 right there. That thing's probably $20 right there, broken, if it's broken.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I like to do it. I get a little more cautious when the price is higher.
Yeah.
That I don't know about. Now if it's maybe it's a clothing thing and the price is higher. I've done some of those kind of deals because I already know what the end result's going to be. So, but for things that I'm like unsure of, I use caution, and I usually pass it over if it's too costly.
There you go. Tim, so for you, for research, like what's the like deciding factors about what you're gonna do?
I mean, I'm a comp. I'm not even, and it's not even just comp. I'm looking at especially for lots, I'm looking at sell-through rates, because like I said before, like, yeah, it might be cool to get 25 items of stuff that might be worth $20, but like each, but how is it selling? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't, that's the problem. It's like, for the parts, right, that I messed up on and missed out on, right? Like that would have been okay because they're small, right? Like sitting on that stuff for an extended period of time is fine, but like once again, like I can't buy 25 things that are going to take 6 months to sell. I can't. It's not in my business plan right now. So even more so of like the comps is like kind of like the given obvious. But for me, sell through rate is super important when I'm buying something in bulk because like I said, I don't want to be left sitting with a lot of things for a long time. That is like the complete opposite of where I am right now, business model wise. So like for me, that's super important. Just doing the research on stuff. And I know sometimes it's difficult because like some people think that like when you're doing these things, you have all the time in the world, right? But like we're very like on the go, right? Especially like when we're doing like a long yard crawl or something like that, and it's like we're trying to hit 100 sales in like 4 hours. Like sometimes people think you have all the time in the world, but you don't. I think a lot of times it's like it can be deceiving. Like something may look like a really good buy, right? And I know this has happened to me. I'm sure this has happened to a lot of us before. Something looks like a really good buy. It looks like a no-brainer, right? And then when you get back and you start going through the lot, this is missing a piece. This has got a crack in it. This is dry rotted. The bill is cracked on this hat. Like how many times have we bought a lot of hats and checked like the hat, but forgot to check the bill? We've all done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and then you're like, damn, this bill is cracked. Especially when you're everything we're talking about right now too is in-person stuff. Imagine buying stuff like this like online, how difficult it is, and how like you can't touch, you can't feel, you can't smell, you can't taste any of it. That makes it a whole different ball game. Now you have to like lower your expectations. You have to lower the amount of money that you're going to spend.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like, once again, don't let your emotions, your excitement get the best of you. Be extremely thorough as much as you possibly can be. Like I said, I know like we're like on the go, but be as thorough as possible because something might look like chocolate icing on the outside, but the inside might be like vegan green bean casserole. You know what I'm saying? Like you you gotta be careful and be thorough. Do your homework. Like even if it's a pop quiz on the fly, on the go, do it as best as you possibly can because I can't tell you how many times I've bought a lot and been like, I am cooking. And then I get home and I put it all on the table and I'm like, man, this is what did I do? What was I thinking? So like it's just for me that's important. So comping, sell through rate, and being thorough. Don't look up every nook and cranny, as we like to say here at the Reseller Information Network, because as much as people don't think it, there's people out there that are trying to like get not necessarily get one over on you, but like that guy just took all of my junk because he saw that one cool thing, and now I don't gotta worry about it. He gotta worry about it. So just be careful.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I approach things way different than most folks when it comes to buying in bulk. For me, like now, I have more of a gut instinct than what I used to. Like used to early on, like you're just buying whatever because you don't know. Like to be honest, like when you're like, I watch YouTube to kind of learn about what to do, but when it comes to buying in bulk, there may be in any given genre, right? Like say you bought plushes, right? And I just went and bought a bunch of plushes, and there may be 2 or 3 plushes that are worth a ton. There may be 100 that are worth nothing. And if you're like, I'll buy all the plushes and like you don't really know, I've done that early on. I've been fortunate with my bulk buys is the price was right. I actually did buy a blind buy that you guys all know about, the sporting goods stuff. I never saw it till it hit my yard and I'd already committed. It worked out great, but I also had a bunch of stuff to get rid of, that some of which is still in the shed. If you need any Wilson baseball pants from the 90s, then I've got you. I've got you. Any shape, size, whatever you want. Like, I got you. But there are things when you're out there that sometimes I will take a flyer on. I'll just be honest. Like I will take a flyer on it. But knowing this, there are ways to get rid of that, because just like it may be something I'm not as interested in, but because of One Stop Shop, because of whatnot, because of being in the reseller community, there's specialists for every genre you can think of in the reseller community. Like I ran into a guy recently at FlipCon last year that all he sells is Boy Scout stuff. Like that's all he sells, Boy Scout stuff. I was like, who would have known that there was a guy out here that all he messes with is Boy Scouts? So there are people that specialize in different things. And honestly, are people that are, like you said, they may live in an area where they can't access sourcing and they're willing to go through those $20 items to get what they need. So like for me, it is a little different at times. I've changed over the years. I mean, now it's so crazy. Like I did this big clothing buy recently and I have stuff in there I know is worth a lot of money that I'm selling it, dude. I'm on One Stop. Like you want to get a bargain, come to one of my one of my auctions, because you will make money on the stuff you buy from me. I guarantee you. It's one of those things for me, it's a little different business model than it was day one. For me, day one, it was all about, I've got to list this on eBay. I've got to do that. I have learned, and this is kind of one of the topics we're going to touch on before we close out this whole subject of buying in bulk. I have learned there's a time to sell it as individual, and there is a time to say, here is a box load of this stuff. I'm going to give you a super deal of the day. I'm going to give you a super deal in auction. Stop by Tuesdays. You can get a deal of the day every Tuesday, but on the Reseller Information Network, 9 to 12 Eastern. Come on by. But if you look at when you're buying this, my thought process is, how can I get rid of it once I've bought it? Like, what do I do to move it from my hands to somebody else's? And that looks different for everybody. I do encourage you to do your research. If you're brand new, don't just take flyers on stuff that you don't know anything about, unless you can afford to do so, because that's the other side of it. I'm cheap. Like the guys on this panel, I've shopped with every one of these jokers. Like they are not spinning up on it. The guys that are my friends that are content creators. Dave was with me one time and he's looking at me. He said, if I said what you just said to that guy, they would murder me on camera. Because I'm coming with the low. Like, hey, if you ask me what I want to pay, hey, I want to give you $1. Like if you're starting where I'm at, if I got to give the price, I'm gonna start low. I'm willing to come up and I'm willing to take chances but educated, calculated risk that are a gamble at times. And for me, it pays off. Like I just bought a flyer on some stuff that I looked at one piece and I was like, that's a nice piece. And then honestly, I fanboyed a little bit because it's the Tar Heels. So I bought the whole box, and then I found some tickets in there that are worth hundreds and thousands. So you never know. You just keep plugging away, keep adding to the memory bank, keep watching Reseller Information Network, and listen to what. Because the other thing I know we can attest to, every one of us, just like Leroy okey-dokes us about the stuff that he knows. And then we find out, like, dude, when he told me about RC, when he told me about like golf clubs, oddly enough, he knows about that as a little bit as well. When he tells me about certain things, like I put it in the old memory bank, like Cernoch with boots and hats. And even recently, I've actually bought some glass. And I actually knew what it was for the most part. I was like, look at that. That's this. Like, but so you can buy in bulk. Just have a plan for what are you going to do with it? Are you going to store it? The last little tidbit I'll give, and then we'll go around, is can you make it multi-quantity? Can you make multi-quantity? For us, like even you'll see on eBay from time to time, I see it oftentimes that people will make boxes. Now, there's a lot of mistrust when it comes to mystery boxes. We know that. I guarantee you, I've bought mystery boxes off of Cernoch before, and it was well worth it. I pray that people that have got t-shirt boxes and hat boxes off of us, myself and Tim have sold hat boxes at a couple of times at reseller rallies, and we've hawked it on the sidewalk. And for us, because I'm more than happy to help other resellers.
Yes.
And if you're a reseller and you're like, hey, I need some inventory, hit me up, hit Cernoch up, hit these guys up. Like Leroy, if you need to learn how to sell some parts, he'll find you. I guarantee you. But and Tim, like he's got all kinds of stuff hidden around that house right now. So if you're in need, if you're in need, come on by, shoot us a message, come by One Stop. Like just check out one of our auctions, because I can tell you can make money that way. So the last thing I did want to talk about is for you guys, if you buy a lot, part it out. How do you make that decision? Like, are you trying to like get every dime out of every piece that you've got? Are you trying to lot up some? Are you trying to, or maybe you bought something and you're like, know what? I'm just going to take this thing apart because I can sell the pieces better than I can sell it complete. Like, what are some thought processes for you? We'll just go quickly round the horn. We'll let the parted out guy go first.
Should I sell this together?
See, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that.
I'm going to put it to you this way.
Wait, is it together right now?
It's together right now. It's somewhat together. Okay. This front end will get taken off, and I'll probably sell that for about $60. Just the front end. The rear end, I'll take this gear part. That's like a little transmission type. I'm going to take that off. That's probably about $20. And then the axle with the back part, probably another $15. And then the shock mount setup, that's probably another $15, $20. And the chassis is not cracked. That's probably another $15. So with this, I'm going to pot it out. Because if I try to sell it right like this, I'll probably get $20 for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Little wisdom. Cernoch, what are you gonna do?
Well, I've done exactly what Leroy's done before. I bought a big old toy playset, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle playset, and it was missing parts, but it had a lot of parts to it. So what I did was I looked online and I'm like, if I sell it all together, it's gonna be like $35, $40 most. So I went online, looked at the part list, just started going boom, 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 and then made one big listing that you could just drop down with like variable listings, like what part you need. Here's the part number and everything. I've already made like $250 off of just selling parts, and I've got probably half of it still left. So it's one of those things, if you're gonna part it out like that. See, for me, I'll part it out like that. If I know, like, if I part it out and make a project out of it, and I can do one listing, and it can just keep on getting hits and hits and hits, then that's how I'll do it. But with other stuff, like with the lots, I don't know. I'm not the best with going, all right, I know exactly what I'm gonna do with this. Sometimes it comes later. It definitely comes later where, I'll see something and go, well, you know what? I recently did this. in our last episode, we talked about taking stuff to the auction.
Mhm.
Okay. That's now a new kind of category where it's like, well, if that doesn't fit into selling online or doing this, maybe I can just take it to the auction and they can line it up with some stuff that they deem good and sell it like that. So that's how I kind of look at it now. And just kind of like trying to just keep everything organized, where if I do have like a bunch of the same items, I kind of cluster them all together when I'm storing them and go, okay, I'm gonna put all this stuff here. So like I had a bunch of cameras, I put it all together, and then like I said, that auction came about. I'm like, yo, here's all my cameras right here. I can just pick all this stuff up, put it in a box, and take it there and be done with it. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it now. But I mean, back in the day, it was like, all right, let me grab this item, sell those, and I guess I'll leave those in the boxes till whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, just something falls on them, or like it falls off of it. You can say, "Oh, look at that."
Yeah.
Tim, how do you handle that situation?
I mean, I'm pretty much just categorizing everything. List it, live sale, donation, or auction. That's it. Like I'm not. My goal is to not have anything ever around that's not listed. So if it's not going to be listed, it goes into a live sale, and then from there it goes either to the auction. Going to either go to the auction house, depending on how that goes for us the first time around, and then it'll get donated. Obviously, like I'm trying to eliminate having death piles and eliminate having stale inventory and eliminate having clutter and stuff around that's not like in the process of being processed. Working smarter, not harder. I'm going to keep saying it because the more I say it, the more, it pushes myself. It's like a level of accountability, so
yeah.
Like yesterday, I got all those Power Rangers. They're all photographed, listed already. Like it's just a matter of how hungry are you? Like I need to make more money. That's just a fact of it. And I'm not stuff sitting around is like, yeah, it's cool when you buy it. And yeah, look at what this comps out for. It don't mean nothing until it's sold, delivered, positive feedback, money in the bank. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's not money. You're out of, that's a loss. People look at it like, oh, that's my money pile. I ain't no damn money pile. That's a loss. It's just money that you spent that's just sitting around that you're not doing anything with. Make the money. Figure out how to sell it. If you're not going to list it, put it in a live sale. If you're not doing live sales, take it to an auction. If you're not taking it to an auction, you should just stop buying stuff, because it sounds like you're just buying stuff to sit around the house. Unless of course you're paying like 2 cents for a t-shirt, and 50 cents for a pair of World War II boots. It's a little bit different that way.
We'll get to those whenever,
Yeah. There you go. Hey, I think all you guys definitely good points when you think about parting things out as far as like if you bought something and breaking it down, and then also like I know I've seen you guys do this as well, like items, putting them in a lot. I know Cernoch does it with clothing. Like, okay, we've got all these sweatshirts. We're going to run this all together, these 5. The other thing I was thinking about this the other day, it's interesting that you said about that you're putting the Walkmans in a box and kind of just storing it up. I've recently been diving off into looking at, for live stream auctions, junk drawer lot, right? Random stuff that's loosely connected. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about like belt buckles and tie tacks and things like, things that would all go together in a little junk drawer lot, or like maybe knives and coins and, things like that you would honestly, like, back in the day, that'd be all the loose stuff sitting on top of a dresser, like when you go to the estate sale. But like thinking about that when you're buying things as well, is if you are creating, like for me, for my live auctions, I always like to bring some random stuff that people are like, I'm not seeing something like that, or this is something like every day, because like for me, that's fun to me. Like I just got a guy the other day that's like a hand carved little peg leg guy. He's going to my auction.
Seems cool.
Like it's cool, right? Yeah. That's the kind of weird stuff that I look at, but I'm like, man, you know what? Like I'm gonna throw that in the box as a throw in. So when I'm bundle buying out there, I look for random stuff that I can lot up later with some other things to make a lot to sell to somebody else, whether it be on eBay or otherwise. But then also like thinking along the lines of what Tim was saying is knowing that you've got a home, like trying to figure that out. So when you're taking, like one of the things I think for me as far as getting organized is when you bring stuff in, go ahead and kind of move it, break it down to like, okay, this is XYZ. And then, the other thing I'll just say, just to kind of round things out with the whole research and like what you're going to do. For me, if I buy like items, generally I search highest to lowest. Like I just look and I'm going through and picking out like what's the most valuable thing in this. Like recently I brought a bunch of pistons at an auction. So you know what I did? I saw the brands that I had and I went in each brand and I looked and sorted highest to lowest. And I'm like, okay, so those are obviously the ones I'm going to grab first and put them in the priority pile of getting listed. The other thing I do to unload the excess is twice a year I have a massive yard sale and I blow stuff through. Like honestly, like I've had dollar yard sales where I'm like, everything here's $1. I don't care if it's an armchair or a little, it doesn't matter. It's $1. Like you need a price, it's $1. Like that's what I do. Or I do tables like 531. And everything on these tables are $5, $3, $1. Like I learned that from some flea market guy that I was talking about it too one time. But yeah, I know Leroy does that. So just having a way to get rid of things. And for all of you guys, I would encourage you, bundle buying is a great way to get more inventory if you're struggling with that. You're not going to bundle buy in the thrift store more times than not, but it does help you with that. But just kind of have a way out of the fire, a plan of escape, like to escape getting avalanched on like I do behind me oftentimes. But yeah, for you guys, if you're a brand new seller and you're kind of looking for ways to get inventory, that you can do it on the bulk buy. Just don't go bananas. Don't buy a bundle of Beanie Babies. Don't buy them. Like otherwise,
if you do, send them to Eric.
Yeah, I've got a table load now. Do not send any more. I appreciate you so much. I've got more in the mail today. I know that for a fact. I was just looking earlier that I had packages. I was like, oh, I know there's more there. But yeah, I do thank you guys so much, the guys that sent those. And I will be out for a couple of weeks on listing and loafing. We're recording some episodes, but I thank all you guys for helping with that project. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So let's go around the horn.
All right. Hey, hopefully y'all learned something today. Listen, buy a lot of items, buy it in lots, sell it in lots, sell it individual, sell it parts. Whatever works for you, do it. We're just giving you that information, that works for us. So, everyone on this panel has a different way of doing it. So it's like, we never come out and say, hey, this is the only way to do it. That's why we're always here just giving our different opinions. So whatever works best for you guys. And, like you might start doing it out one way and go, you know what, let me switch it up doing this way. And you may find success doing it another way that Eric described, or I described, or Tim described, or Leroy described. So you never know what's going to work in your own situation. So use these tools that we're giving you, experiment a little bit, and hopefully you have success with that. So, and yeah, leave us a comment on, leave us a comment down below what you guys think about, doing lots yourself.
There you go. Leroy.
Does anybody want any slot car parts? Don't hit me up. I'm just gonna die with these things. I'm still looking them up. But no, guys, we always are looking for a way to better you guys. So if you guys have stuff that we always ask, questions, but if you have a topic that we might think that we can work around, feel free to drop the topic in the chat, because we will, talk about a certain topic. If we feel that we have enough knowledge to share with you guys on that specific topic, we would definitely give it a shot. So, it's just something that we all decided we brought up, and that's the way we did it today. But I appreciate everybody. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and see you next week.
We will literally talk about anything. So if there's something you want us to talk about, I'm sure we could talk about it for 45 minutes. I know I probably could for 45 minutes by myself, but we want to thank you guys, as always, for all the love and all the support. We want to thank you for showing up on Tuesdays, showing up on Fridays, showing up on every other single day in between Tuesday and Friday, and after Friday and before Tuesday. We appreciate you just showing up. Anytime I see Leroy laugh, I can't help but not laugh. But serious note, we really appreciate all the love and all the support. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to head over to the one-stop shop. Do some shopping. Do some selling, do some chatting, some community building. It's a great place to kind of talk to other like-minded individuals. But don't forget
to put happy birthday in the chat for Tim. Please put happy birthday in the chat for Tim. Thank you.
Yes, by the time you guys see this video, I will be 40 years old. So thank you to my brothers here, my older brothers. We appreciate all the love and all the support. Don't forget to tell a friend about RIN, Reseller Information Network.